Hello there. Coming up, all the goals from an incredible day's action this Easter Monday. It felt like the first day of summer, and it's certainly hotting up in the Sky Bet Football League. With only a handful of games left, there's no doubt it's all about holding your nerve from here on in. And joining Steve today, a warm welcome to a member of Fulham's coaching staff and ex-Charlton boss, Alan Kirbishley. Here's what's on the way. With just 2 points dividing them in the race for promotion, the game of the day saw Watford and leaders Middlesbrough go head-to-head at Vicarage Road, with action from a terrific match coming up. The race for the playoff places is just as intense. 4-1 winners at Fulham on Saturday. Brentford went toe-to-toe with Nottingham Forest. As Wolves' playoff charge continues to gain momentum, with extended highlights from their match against a troubled Leeds United. And we've all the latest news, views and goals from the top and bottom of all three divisions as the season hurtles towards a dramatic climax. Right, first up, a potentially pivotal game at the top of the Championship as fourth-placed Watford, who are gaining real momentum, were aiming to replace opponents Middlesbrough at the Summit for a few hours at least. Slavisa Jokanovic made 4 changes but stuck with the prolific pairing of Odion Ighalo and Troy Deeney up top, while Aitor Karanka made 3 alterations, including debuts for Loney's Fernando Amrabieta and Dwight Tindalli in defence. Commentary from John Roeder.
By Hoban. Anya quickly upon it as Tindalli slipped. Akichi Anya, can he finish it? Konstantopoulos with the block. See there the slip from Tindalli, and it meant that the whole of the near side was a little exposed as far as Middlesbrough are concerned. Tozer to take. Header comes in, and it wasn't too far wide either. Central defender trying to find the bottom corner. Picked up by Ledbetter. Guardiola with the challenge, and again. Chase on here for reach. Fred drills it in and turned towards goal by Tomlin. You can see there he's in quite a bit of room in the penalty area. In by Guardiola, it's Troy Deeney. Can he finish? Yes, he can. Opportunistic goal, and Troy Deeney reaches 20 goals now for the season. What a ball in, though, from Adlène Guardiola. Pinpoint accuracy. And when a striker is in such good form as Troy Deeney, he really isn't going to miss from there. Watford 1, Middlesbrough 0. Tomlin. Away by Hoban. Watford will have been expecting quite an onslaught from Middlesbrough early in this second half. Paredes, no way forward for him. Fred, reach. Here's Fred again. Towards Adoma. Never really going to be able to turn that towards goal from such a position. Middlesbrough absolutely dominating possession in the early exchanges in this second half. 75% possession to the visitors. Towards Bamford, headed away by Gomez. Here's the ball forward from Tomlin. Certainly a high foot there from the Middlesbrough striker. Just catching the goalkeeper. Only 4 defeats in their last 18 for Middlesbrough. Ighalo turns away from Woodgate. What a finish that is! Odion Ighalo gets his 19th of the season. Well, he just can't stop scoring. 16 goals in his last 14 league appearances now. Turns away from Woodgate, and what a shot that is. Here comes Bamford, it's away by Hoban. Adoma's ball across. Middlesbrough fans hoping to hear the referee's whistle for a penalty kick. Kike went down in the area. Certainly Connolly does have his arm right around the Middlesbrough striker. Tozer with the corner. Half away by Woodgate. Deeney battling for it. Turned back in towards goal and tipped away by Konstantopoulos to deny Guardiola. And that was heading in until the last gasp save from the Middlesbrough goalkeeper. Ledbetter. Reach. And the flag has stayed down. It's Kike. Gomez with the save. He's not been called into action very much at all this afternoon, Aurelio Gomez. Celebrations at Vicarage Road amongst the home supporters. A goal in each half, and has given Slavisa Jekanovic's side a vital victory.
Two good teams, one against another. At the end, we scored the goals, and we make many minutes good football with a friendly team, very good. We show good character, and this is all these things is good news for us.
We were flat because we played against an amazing team. Most of the players are Premier League players, and I think we are doing a miracle at this time.
Well, it was an impressive showing from Watford. Steve, you're at Vicarage Road. I mean, they looked pretty much in control over the whole 90 minutes, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, they were certainly the side that looked more likely to win the game. They had the cutting edge that probably Middlesbrough didn't. Going forward, I mean, you know, the players that got in at their disposal, you know, played well today. And if you're playing in that side, I mean, you're always going to think, I'll tell you what, looking forward, even if we go behind in this game, we've got a chance because we've got players who can win us a game of football. And you just didn't quite get the feeling that that was the case with Middlesbrough.
Alan, in some ways, did they capitalise on a team like Middlesbrough who were almost readjusting to a new look back four?
Yeah, I mean, when you've got strike force like Watford have got, you know, I think there was a couple of changes in the Middlesbrough back four. Morbietta went there, left Fulham. Yeah, it was a loan swap with James Husband, and Tiandelli came in at right back. Perhaps one or too many changes, and you know, I think that perhaps the away form that Middlesbrough are in at the moment, you know, perhaps the manager decided to change it because of that.
Well, let's have another look at the two goals in the contest. I mean, for Troy Deeney, it's goal number 20 for the third consecutive season. Yeah,
I mean, it's a fine finish, you've got to say. I mean, you're looking at, firstly, you're questioning Jonathan Woodgate, you know, gets a little bit caught underneath the ball, he's ball watching, and Tiandelli, you think, would probably like to be on the cover a little bit more there, just protecting him, but he's not, and it's probably a poor goal to concede from Middlesbrough.
What a finish this is from
Igalo. I think once he comes on to his left foot, leaves Jonathan Woodgate for dead, and the strike's always rising. It's always going above the keeper. Keeper gets his hand to it. Perhaps could have done a little bit better, but a wonderful strike. And that was game over, really.
Yeah, I mean, for Watford, it means now they've won 9 of the last 13. Clearly, they've got some momentum going. Worryingly for Borough, though, they've lost 4 of the last 5 away games.
Yeah, I think that's a big concern. And, you know, they've lost to Bournemouth. Now they've gone and lost to another rival today. Yeah. And in the running, they've got Norwich away from home.
So let's have a look at that running for both Watford and Middlesbrough. So how do you assess it?
Well, I mean, we know this is unpredictable, this league, but as far as you're concerned, on the evidence of what we saw today, you look at Watford, and even if they were to go behind in any of those games, you'd think, hey, we've got a chance to get back in this game because of what we've got going forward. Thought Bamford was isolated slightly today. You'd like to see Middlesbrough maybe be a little bit more positive, proactive going forward, create a little bit more. But if you're saying on the evidence of what we've got there, I just think Watford will have too much going forward for some of the sides they're going to be playing from now to the end of the season.
So Watford top for the time being. The question is, could they stay there come 5 o'clock? We start our first roundup of the other promotion candidates at the Gold Sands, as Bournemouth, who began the day in second, met a Birmingham City side looking to gain revenge for the 8-0 defeat earlier in the season.
Records tumbled in the corresponding match at St Andrews when Bournemouth won 8-0. But Birmingham started this match like a train with 2 goals within 21 minutes. The first delicately delivered by Clayton Donaldson. Bournemouth had only been behind once at Gold Sand since mid-September, and before they could recover from the shock, David Cotterill was allowed to stroll through and finish superbly. But the mark of a successful team is how they react to adversity, and the comeback was underway shortly before half-time, when Steve Cook got the sort of goal centre-halves are supposed to score. And there was still time before the break for Jan Kermorgant to expertly pick out Callum Wilson to roll in his 20th goal of the season. 2-2 after a breathless 45 minutes. Momentum was now with the Cherries, and the same striking combination were at it again early in the second half. This time Wilson's feet were too quick for Paul Robinson, and Andy Woolmer had no hesitation. Kermorgant dispatched Bournemouth's 3rd goal in 9 minutes. Birmingham's early supremacy now seemed a long time ago. Tommy Elphick was next to go close. There was an element of luck about the clinching goal, but there was little doubt Eddie Howe's men had earned their good fortune. Adam Smith was twice denied before Charlie Daniels discovered it's not always the sweetest strikes which get rewarded. Birmingham's day wasn't improved when Robinson was dismissed for this challenge on Wilson. His 9th career red card may have been a touch harsh. The floodgates were now creaking. Harry Arter's shot almost went straight through them. And although Darren Randolph brilliantly denied Kenwyne Jones another, Bournemouth are back on top.
Tough afternoon for us today. I thought Birmingham played very well early in the game and made it difficult for us, and thankfully we came through that test, and it could be a really good learning tool for us as the season progresses, and this could be a crucial 3 points.
Norwich would join Bournemouth in the top 2, providing they could see off Sheffield Wednesday, who must already be looking through the holiday brochures. The Canaries simply overpowered their opponents in the first half. Alex Tettey gave Wednesday a taste of what was to come. That said, the Owls could easily have gone to the break ahead themselves. Southampton loanee Lloyd Isgrove running the full length of the Norwich half and was inches away from opening the scoring. But the match was soon back to its familiar pattern as the home side's persistence eventually paid off just past the half hour. Stephen Whittaker's high ball pounced on by Bradley Johnson, who also grabbed the match winner at Brighton on Good Friday. Exactly what the capacity crowd had been hoping for, whilst Wednesday were desperate to get to the break without any further damage being done. But the home side were in full flow. Cameron Jerome's pass allowed to run through to Graham Dorrans, whose shot was beaten away by Kieran Westwood. Alex Neil couldn't have asked for much more. Perhaps the only thing missing was that killer second goal, which duly arrived on the stroke of half-time. Wednesday struggling to deal with Dorrans' corner, and Johnson helped himself to his 13th of the campaign. That put Norwich on course for their 10th win in 13 games, against a team who had won on their 4 previous visits to Carrow Road. But the points wouldn't be leaving Norfolk this time. Nathan Redmond almost added more gloss to the scoreline. Regardless, the Canaries will take some stopping in their quest to make an immediate return to the top flight.
Obviously we've been sort of fighting tooth and nail to get to the top end of the table. We've got there now with 5 games to go. However, we've still got 5 important matches, and we need to make sure that we maintain the form we've been on.
Malky Mackay's controversial reign as Wigan manager ended as it started, with his side unable to win at home. That said, they had their chances to end a winless streak at the DW Stadium that extends back to last summer. But James McLean couldn't beat an inspired Lee Grant. How Wigan would love to have a striker of Chris Martin's quality in their side, and how Derby have missed him. The Scotland international's been out of the side for most of the last 2 months with injury, but his first goal since the end of January was well worth the wait. His absence has coincided with Derby's decline from league leaders to mere playoff hopefuls, and a desire to get their campaign back on track was exemplified by the determination of Tom Ince. At 1-0, their advantage was a fragile one, and Wigan certainly had their chances to equalise. McLean again looked the most likely, But again, Grant leapt to the visitors' rescue. With Steve McClaren admitting automatic promotion is now a long shot, a first Derby win in 8 was essential to maintain the playoff pace. And when Jason Pearce fumbled, Darren Bent reacted fastest to enjoy his 11th goal of the season and a group hug. So Mackay departs with a record of 19 points from 24 matches in 138 days, while McClaren marches on.
Been playing very well over the last few games. Not getting the results, the rub of the green. I think we got that today. We didn't play as well. You couldn't on that pitch. It was a rugby pitch, but we did enough, showed enough character, played enough football to win the game.
Ipswich worked incredibly hard to feature in the promotion race, but now seem to be running out of steam, although Jay Tabb almost gave them early control in West Yorkshire. A run of 2 wins in 7 had dropped them out of the playoff zone, and Zeki Fryer's carelessness was given the full punishment by Nahki Wells. Huddersfield quickly grew in confidence, and when Christophe Berra lost his bearings, James Vaughan nearly took acrobatic advantage. It's fair to say defences weren't on top at this stage. Daryl Murphy exposed an offside trap which came out in instalments, but Tommy Smith got back just in time. It was a costly miss as the home side took a firm grip on this game when the quality of Jacob Butterfield's cross was matched by Vaughan's header. Whatever Mick McCarthy said at half-time, it clearly had the desired effect, as Ipswich quickly responded with Luke Varney's first goal since arriving on loan from Blackburn. But Ipswich haven't managed more than a goal a game in their current slump, and that remained the case. But for Bartosz Bielkowski, the margin of defeat would have been greater.
It was a first-class performance, and I got to marvel at how our team played today, but also their energy levels. You know, we only played 48 hours ago, only made 1 change, but our first-half performance was, I think, the best we've played since I've been at the club.
It was a bright start, wasn't it, for us from the second half. It just never materialised. It didn't. I have to say that Huddersfield have played well. Let's give them a bit of credit as well.
With just 2 wins at home since the new year, Cardiff were keen to hit the ground running, and almost did when Owen Doyle was denied by Barry Bannon on the line. The home side then returned the compliment, this time Dorian De Veit with the header and Sean Morrison with the last gasp heroics. Bolton did enjoy a slightly clearer sight of goal when Ida Gudjonsson enjoyed the freedom of the Cardiff Stadium before teeing up Craig Davis, who probably didn't enjoy that finish. Rolling back the years was Neil Lennon's way of rolling with the recent punches as he picked Gudjonsson and Emil Heskey up front for Bolton. They have a combined age of 73, but combined beautifully as Heskey set up a vintage Gudjonsson strike. Lennon opted for that experience up front in a bid to halt a poor run of away form which had seen Wanderers go 8 matches on the road without a win. But along with their guile and know-how came the boundless energy of Davies, who made amends for that earlier miss. The Welsh international was to enjoy a fruitful afternoon down the Bolton left as the visitors put their recent indifferent form behind them. He picked up his 2nd of the match and his 7th of the season to wrap up an impressive display, which left the manager convinced that things are finally moving in the right direction for him and his players.
It was an outstanding performance, particularly second half. We scored 3 fantastic goals, but I think our football in general was something we've been trying to strive for a while here at Bolton, and we found it today.
Defensively, we've switched off and we've not done it well. We've not done the basics well in that second period. They've been absolutely ruthless in terms of their finishing. It's not like we've been without opportunities ourselves, but we've not taken them when we've had that opportunity.
Yeah, good win that for Bolton as Cardiff's frustrating end to the season continues. Well, obviously the big news from that roundup is that Malcolm Mackay has been sacked by Wigan. The chairman, 23-year-old, of course, has sacked the 43-year-old. And after, less than 5 months in charge? Explain the thinking then, Alan, why they've made this move with just 5 games to play.
They may think that their next 2 games is against 2 teams that are just above them, Fulham and Millwall. So perhaps they think that under Malky, perhaps they're not going to get another win, and perhaps a change of manager, or even if David Kurzake's in charge, it may give the team a little bit of a lift. And if they get something out of these next 2 games, they've still got a chance of staying up.
Question is, I suppose, are they going to be looking for a short-term or a longer-term appointment?
No, I think this is just basically one of those where you're going to go in, hopefully things change, you see, you get the uplift, just a change of voice, change of direction, whatever, just for 5 games to make some sort of impact. We've seen it before.
Yeah.
You know, they're obviously looking at it and saying, you know, these things have changed around very quickly, but it doesn't look likely under Malky, so we'll try another... It's a nothing-to-lose sort of situation.
And it never happened for Malky, really, did it?
No, it's unbelievable that, you know, Wigan a couple of years ago in the Premier League and FA Cup winners, and now they're looking, really, if they don't pick up these results, they're looking to be going into Division 1 in the space of a couple of seasons.
Bournemouth, meanwhile, of course, their season, however, is going from strength to strength, and what a comeback victory this was against Birmingham, Steve. Yeah,
I mean, they got the goals at the right time. You knew 2-0 down, and then they got back to 2-2 just before half-time, you know, with a good goal, and all of a sudden, you know, the momentum's with them. They get a penalty virtually before they've taken a breath second half, and you think, yeah, from then on you fully expect them to go and win the game, and they do so. And as I say, I mean, this is a team that's shown immense character and immense spirit and an awful lot of quality.
I saw them first down a couple of weeks ago when they come to Fulham and you know, won convincingly, and they got a certain way of playing, and you know, they all look as if they're hungry. And you know, they want to get in the Premier League, and I was really impressed with them.
I'll tell you what they are. They're really brave on the ball. There's a lot of people who, you know, when you watch players play, sometimes when things aren't quite going, they still get the ball down. They're still willing to receive the ball. They don't hide. They want to keep playing even when it's not quite going.
We're talking about cutting edge. You know, they've got the boy Wilson up top, as we've just seen, so quick and that. But they've done a smart bit of business, I think, just before the window closed by bringing Kim Wing-Jones in, so they can play 2 up top, or if they get an injury, they've got someone to replace Wilson.
So Bournemouth lead the pack, of course, at the minute. Norwich in second. They're in the top 2 for the first time since October. They're the form team in terms of points and wins in the Championship in 2015. I mean, they're running.
We look at the run-ins. Look, this is the most unpredictable league as well. It's going to make a fool out of everybody for trying to predict that, because you can't. What you can say is, what sort of nick are we in? You know, how much do we believe that we can see this through? That's more important. When you're looking around your own dressing room going, do you know, have we got enough here to win those games?
And on that, I suppose, you know, from a Fulham perspective, you can't really assess from the fixtures ahead, can you?
No. I mean, you have to take every game as it comes along. But I think with Norwich, they've done so fantastically well to get where they are at the moment. Can they keep it going?
Yeah, that's the question, and we'll find out, of course, in due course. To our feature match now, and having climbed back into the playoff places on Friday thanks to a 4-1 demolition of Fulham, Brentford were buzzing with confidence going into their match against Nottingham Forest. Your commentator at Griffin Park is Tony Husband.
Brentford still gunning for promotion. Nottingham Forest's Premier League ambitions seemingly over for another year. Not the scenario many would have imagined come the final month of the season. Mark Warburton's last week as Bees boss could therefore still have a fairy tale ending. Alan Judge scored at Fulham on Good Friday as a substitute. He starts today with Jonathan Douglas on the bench, the only change from the Bees' London derby victory. Dougie Freedman's looking to the future now. He'll start with his own. The Forest boss says he's close to a long-term deal to stay on at the City Ground. There are 3 changes from the side beaten by Wolves. David Vaughan replaces the suspended Gary Gardner, while Danny Fox and Jack Hobbs come into the back 4. Jamal Lascelles and Ben Osborne drop out. Rodajo's got some room here, likes to push forward, he's got good pace. Potter, the Spaniard. This is Dallas, and he can be dangerous from this kind of position if he fancies a shot. Judge could shoot 2. Bidwell's up there from the back. And that's Gray. Might get a second chance, both blocked. Oh, 1 or 2 appeals for a handball in there. It was Andre Gray who had a couple of opportunities. First one is off Wilson. That was a chest. That is straight from the solar plexus too. A little better from Mark Warburton's men. They've won 5 from the 9 games since the news broke that he would be leaving at the end of the season. And Darlow slipped almost at the crucial moment. Well, that was nearly an eventful moment for Darlow in the Forest goal, and nearly a gift for Brentford. Potter on the turn against Fox. He's got Gray in the middle. Odebajo. And that's Dallas, and a good save from Darlow. Well, he's hardly done anything for the first 28 minutes, Karl Darlow, and suddenly the game has come to life for him. This is the save. Odebajo, quick feet. Nice combination play with Jota. Odebajo's off on one of those ranging runs, and he's got Gray available. Good save by Darlow. Well, just like that, Brentford can create something very quickly. And the Forest keeper had to be alert to prevent Andre Gray from scoring his 16th of the season. A cute angle, but he got his foot round it well. Well, there's going to be a change, and it's going to mean Tyler Walker is going to enter the fray. Son of the great Forest defender Des. He's got some support here, may not need it, Antonio. Oh, he will now. Oh, what a terrible miss. Well, he's just come on as a substitute, and Tyler Walker's eyes must have lit up for a split second. Instead, it was a moment to forget for the youngster. Great work from Antonio here. Unselfish as well, and it's on a plate for Tyler Walker. It's a great chance for Forest to score, and the 18-year-old fluffs his lines. Judge. Gray on the turn, and the stretching arm of Darlow retrieves it comfortably for Forest in the end. Just a couple of openings in the game for Andre Gray. That one set up by Judge, and just stretching with his arm ever longer. Now this is Walker at the other end. Neat control, and a brilliant goal! What a way to mark your professional career with your first senior goal. Tyler Walker, he missed a sitter earlier. This time he made it, and he scored it. Well, this is a battle with him and Tarkowski. The defender's won it, but he's given it away. But what a follow-up that is. And that's the fire in the bellies that Mark Warburton may well need from his players in these last 20 minutes. Terrell finds Dean. Odebajo, control let him down that time. They're pushing so many players forward here, Brentford. Pritchard, Jota. Good save, Darlow. Well, Karl Darlow had to be alert here. Jota on the turn. Pritchard. Back to Terrell. Pritchard again, he was clipped, he stayed on his feet. Another save for Darlow to have to make. Pritchard again. Away by Hobbs. And Brentford are knocking on the door now. Antonio. Osborne. Kane and Lansbury have made runs here. And here's the substitute. Todd Kane. The super subs for Nottingham Forest. Put them 2 up now. And it's a shattering blow for Mark Warburton and Brentford. What can Brentford do about this now then? Pritchard. Gray. That's the answer. Andre Gray has got Brentford back into it with 10 minutes to play. On the turn, it takes a deflection, I think, off the ankle of Calvin Wilson. Gray won't mind. Past the outstretched arm of Karl Darlow, and Brentford back in it. Pritchard. Will he shoot or try and manufacture something? Got a man outside in Bidwell. Needs a good cross. Oh, and Tommy Smith took a deflection over the top, and it'll be a corner. Oh, head in the hands moment for Tommy Smith, and why not? Surely one of the last chances of the game now. A Brentford corner, Pritchard to take it. Tarkowski. Smith keeps it in. Darlow stretching, but it's there from Hotta! Bodies everywhere in the penalty area. Smith did well to retrieve it, dug out a cross, and a brave header from the Spaniard has saved Brentford.
Credit to the team in terms of their character and their commitment. We know they go to the final whistle. Disappointed to give away those 2 cheap goals. It's quite dominating possession, but we have to maximise that and get our just rewards and be tight at the back, and we were loose at the back for a couple of goals.
You never get out of football what you deserve. That's the moral of the story. I felt we were fantastic today. We'll come to a team that's flying high. We were committed, we were honest in our performance, and we created the better chances going 2-0 up. The only disappointing thing for me was our naivety in the last 10 minutes, which seems to give them the momentum to get the second goal. But overall, the moral of the story, as you've just asked me, is you don't always get what you deserve in football.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a terrific game, particularly, of course, in the last 10 minutes. But up until that point, Alan, I mean, Forest were cruising, weren't they?
They were, and I think Dougie Freedman in his interview was saying that he can't believe the result. But I think you've got to give Brentford great credit for coming back, and they've done that a couple of times recently. They was losing 2-0 to Millwall last 10 minutes and got back in. They did again today.
Well, Forest, of course, got themselves 2-0 up. The first goal coming from Tyler Walker, son of Des, Forest legend. He's already equalled his dad's goal-scoring exploits. Of course, he played 408 games, got the 1 goal, and Walker's off the mark as well. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you look at that and we sort of hold his hands over his eyes there because it was a poor miss, but this is a really fantastic bit of play. When you think about, he's got to get that out of his system, that miss, to be able to take the ball down out like that and then just a little shimmy, drops his shoulder and goes past, and then unerring finish like that. I think it's fantastic. And that's a real character building for the young man as well. 2 Brentford goals. If we look back at them, could Forest maybe be disappointed with the way they went about their business? But I suppose the spirit from Brentford was excellent.
But Gray gets his shot off, it goes for the defender's legs, and they're back in the game with 10 minutes to go, but he takes it quickly, Gray, and that's why he's got the goal. And this is the 95th minute, and going closing down, they don't. It's dinked to the far post, and Jota, the smallest man on the pitch, I think, ends up getting the header, and the keeper just can't get it. It's a tantalising cross. You just can't get there, Darlow. And Jota gets the header, and 95th minute. And, as I said earlier, that they've got a spirit about them, Brentford, and to come back like they have done recently at home. But their home form is in contrast to their away form. Their away form is really, really good. So unless they sort that home form out, they're going to struggle to get into that top 6, I think.
Well, as for this evening's late game at Molineux, playoff chasers Wolves went in search of a 4th straight win at home to Leeds. Kenny Jackett kept an unchanged lineup after 3 straight wins, while Neil Redfern made 3 changes, including top scorer Mirko Antonucci, starting up front for the first time since January. Dan O'Hagan describes this one.
Kenny Jackett's 2nd Wolves season, looking for his 2nd promotion. He has done here, by the way, an absolutely fabulous job. It's over 30 years since Leeds last won a league game here, back in December of 1984 in the old 2nd division. Did win here in the old ZDS Cup in the early 90s. You know that. McDonald, oh, it's been charged down here, and a goal from Charlie Taylor. A first senior goal for Charlie Taylor here, which has dealt Wolves' playoff push a major dent early on. McDonald here with the mistake. What was he thinking? Off his own man Stearman, then Charlie Taylor steers it in. Wolves here were too casual. It's a break off Stearman. And there to grab his very first goal, Charlie Taylor for Leeds United. Price, Henry, Iorfa here for Wolves. Yannick Afobe. Afobe here in the mood for Wolves. Across here for Dicko! Yes! Wolverhampton Wanderers have parity. Nuadiko to squeeze the ball home from a tight angle, a tight position, and Wolves out of a tight spot at Molineux. Made here by Benik Afobe. Dicko at the far post here, steals in, and the ball squeezed home to level the match at 1 apiece. Leeds' lead did not last long, did it? Iorfa beats Berardi here. Iorfa for James Henry! Clawed away by Silvestri for Leeds. Price, Sacco, Dicko onside here for Wolves. Dicko took it early, oh yes! What a hit from Nuadiko for Wolves. Well worth the applause from the head coach Kenny Jackie. That is a fine finish, a fine take, and Wolves in front by 2-1. Wolves from behind, now in a position of power on the stroke of half-time. McDonald, Price, Afobe waiting with the overhead. It's come to Sacco here. Sacco, Danny Bart, off Dicko, Afobe! Into double figures in Wolves colours, Benik Afobe, 10 in 15. And he has been a dynamite signing mid-season. Afobe gobbles up the scraps gratefully, gleefully. It is clear Wolves daylight. 3-1 they lead now against Leeds. Afobe in Wolves colours looks a natural. Here comes Sol Bamba. To Wootton. And now Alex Mowat. Mowat in towards Boromir. Oh, Danny Bart, own goal. It's a game again. The skipper here with a lapse, an own goal, and Leeds from nowhere are right back in this football match again. You saw there the goalkeeper, heard him too, shouting, "My ball, goalkeeper's ball." Danny Bart does not heed the loud shout and scores the own goal to make it 2-3. Here's Mowat for Leeds now, gets away from Stearman. Mowat! Takes a pen to Wolves' party balloon. 3-3 at Molineux. And who saw this coming? Leeds joyous, and Wolves are seeing their party gate crashed at Molineux. Alex Mowat, one of Leeds' most prized young players, with a gem. 9 for the season. It's a stellar goal, but one which, for Wolves, has seen their afternoon fall apart. Sacco. Now Benik Afobe for Wolves. Behind Edwards. And here is Rajiv Van La Parra! And again, wide. Chance gone for Wolves. The game is open. It's a joy to watch. Wolves, though, cannot as yet reclaim the initiative. Van La Parra. Mowat's block. Van La Parra tries again for Wolves here. McDonald. Great cross, oh yes! Dave Edwards, can you believe this? What a match, and what a goal for Wolves that might be this season. Dave Edwards steers home the header here from McDonald's cross. Wolves 4, Leeds 3. It is utterly compelling. Wow, what a game, what a division, what a season. Is there one more twist? Here comes Sol Bamba. Bamba through towards chasing Billy Sharp, and that will do. Wow, it was breathless. It was brilliant. It was what this division is all about, and then some.
We think we've got some good players, we've got some good young players, and we have a good spirit amongst us. We have to just keep that, not lose that edge, learn from the things that we perhaps did poorly this afternoon, and then really focus on these next 5 games, because it's a big chance for us. You know, we've worked hard this season. We've worked hard to stay in and around the big clubs and the successful clubs, and we're right in there now, and we have to take that chance.
Well, Molineux clearly bouncing at the full-time whistle. Wolves won their last 4 games. They're into the top 6 for the first time since November the 4th. Incredible game, Steve.
It was brilliant, wasn't it? I mean, it was just it was. I think it summed the Championship up in a nutshell, didn't it? You know, in one game we had just about everything. And Leeds have had a really good run since the turn of the year, and they're no pushover for anyone. Wolves also didn't help themselves along the way. You know, a couple of goals that probably they thought they could have defended better. But bags of character, bags of spirit, and just exactly what they need, the belief to keep going. We've said about it before, you've got goal scorers in your team, you'll keep believing that you can win games of football, and that's exactly what happened.
And I know you call that 4th goal, actually, when they were pressurising towards the end, Alan, but they boast such power and strength up top.
They're really a physical side. You know, lots of legs, lots of power. And, you know, they've got goal scorers. And, you know, I think the way the game was going, you felt at 3-3 there was going to be another goal in it, and they managed to get it. And, you know, they've got a bit of momentum now, Wolves. As Kenny said in his interview, that they've just got on the fringes of the playoffs. Now they've got into the top 6. And, you know, they're going to take some stopping, I think.
All 3 strikers, with Benik Afobe now getting 29, they're all in double figures. It's a manager's dream, isn't it?
Absolutely. And the substitutions, you know, you're making substitutions as a manager, and you know it's going to make a difference because of the players he's got on his bench. So they're in real good form at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, exactly the same as Watford. 3 strikers, all in double figures, and not relying on one player. This is the thing, you know, when you're going into games, you think, if he doesn't play well, we're probably not going to win the game. That isn't the case for a couple of these sides.
And we've been building to this for quite some time. What a finish in prospect in the Championship.
Absolutely, and, you know, it may go right to the last game with 3 or 4 sides in contention to go straight up.
So who's your money on then, Alan?
Well, I must admit, I'm looking at the top 3 at the moment. I think that, you know, they've got the strike power, they've got momentum, and I think that they're playing full of confidence. I think 1 or 2 of the other clubs just around that are not in that frame of mind.
Well, one more game to catch up on, and a win for Rotherham at home to Brighton would condemn Blackpool to relegation to the 3rd tier just 4 years after they were playing in the Premier League.
4 straight defeats had left Rotherham in a precarious position. Just 4 points separated them from the bottom 3, prompting Steve Evans to ring the changers. Jordan Bowery joined Matt Derbyshire in attack, a move that paid off just 8 minutes in. Derbyshire finishing sweetly, having been picked out by his strike partner. And Bowery himself almost had his name in lights too. Kirk Broadfoot set him up, but he failed to crown his first league start of 2015 with a goal. Brighton glad of the reprieve, and despite being all but safe, Chris Hughton's men could do with another win just to make sure. In the second half, the Millers' defence had their pockets picked by Baram Kayal before Emiliano Martinez came to the home side's rescue, and when Dale Stevens tried to mount another attack, Kerry Arneson snuffed out the danger. Yet again, another example of Brighton's shortcomings in front of goal, but the Millers refused to be stopped in their quest for a crucial victory. Kyle Lafferty's terrific run down the left opened the door for Derbyshire to bag a second, but was left frustrated by David Stockdale. The Millers fans continue to roar their team home. Derbyshire's cute pass teed up Danny Ward, who could have killed the game off once and for all. But it mattered not, as Rotherham moved 7 points clear of danger, which in turn sealed Blackpool's fate.
Other than our last home game, we were winning good into injury time and lost an equaliser, well, 93rd minute equaliser, 98th minute winner against us. It was really hard to take, so to come back in front of a fantastic support, they're with us every step of the way. It would have been easy for those guys to turn away from us today, but they stood up there to a man and the senior is over the line, so for all the disappointment of 2 weeks ago, that's for them.
I don't think you can fault us in that second half in our endeavours to try and get a result, but at the moment we're finding it difficult to get the goals that we need. We're finding it difficult to create the opportunities, the real good opportunities that we need, and We had a lot of ball in that final third, you know, probably for a team away from home, probably as much as we've had for a good while.
Chris Hughton sounding pretty frustrated there. Well, that result for Rotherham basically secures Blackpool's future in League One next season. It's been quite a demise, really, for that football club since they were playing in the Premier League only 4 years ago. We'll talk about the Tangerines in a moment, but for the Millers, that was a huge result, wasn't it, Steve?
It was. I mean, there was real pressure, there's no doubt about that. They'd lost 5 out of the previous 6. You look back, and there are a couple of good big games that stand out over the last couple of months. You know, the Millwall game when they went a goal behind. You know, if it stayed like that, it would have really closed the gap. But they won it, gave themselves a bit of breathing space. You think they'll probably be all right. All of a sudden, they've gone into a little bit of a slump. This was a huge game. There was real pressure, as he said, after the game on this one. And to win this one again, now they've given themselves another little bit of breathing space, and they want to make sure they see it through now.
Alan, for Blackpool, the writing was on the wall back in the summer when they had something like 8 try lists on view in one game. It's been quite a sad and sorry tale, isn't it?
Yes, and I think, you know, the manager at the time, Riga, was saying that, you know, we need help, we need to sign some players. The chairman said, well, leave it to me. Nothing really happened. And there's real apathy around the club, on and off the pitch, even when you look at the pitch. I mean, it's a dreadful pitch to play on, and I think that the whole club has suffered, and I feel sorry for the supporters as well, because I think the supporters have been behind them as much as they can, but there's been no help there.
I mean, they started late previous year. You know, they pretty much didn't get going. You know, signed a lot of players very, very quickly, and they got away with it, but they certainly haven't got away with it this year.
Are Fulham safe, Alan?
No, Fulham are not safe. I think that, you know, we've got to win a couple of games.
Interesting games coming up.
Oh, we've got to win a couple of games. I mean, we start Charlton tomorrow night, and then we've got Wigan, who are just below us, and
Norwich,
Rotherham.
isn't it?
We've got Wigan just below us, then Rotherham just above us.
Yeah.
We then go to Blackpool, and then we've got the top 2 at the moment. We've got Norwich and 2 of the top 2, Norwich and Middlesbrough.
Well, we wish you well. Time for League One now. And with leaders Bristol City not playing until Tuesday, the focus for promotion turned to second in the table, Preston North End. Unbeaten in 12, Southern Grace inside were away to playoff contenders Bradford.
Playing a rampant Preston with 11 men is proving a tough call for most opponents in League One. But inside 14 minutes, Bradford defender Christopher Rutis was staring at a red card for a challenge on Joe Garner. And the Lily Whites were now hot favourites to put even more pressure on leaders Bristol City. But it was the Bantams who created the best chance in the first half. John Stead taking advantage of some hesitant Preston defending, only to be shut out by on-loan Manchester United youngster Sam Johnston. Preston boss Simon Grayson emphasised at half-time the importance of taking control on the restart. And once Stephen Darby had crashed over Jermaine Beckford, it was Paul Gallagher who opened the scoring. Ben Williams guessing right to keep out the spot kick, but Gallagher was fully focused to stick away the rebound. And that's exactly what Preston were for the remainder of the match. Daniel Johnson's magnificent second goal, ending any chance of a comeback from Bradford and sending more fear into the hearts of Bristol City. Chris Humphrey sealed a 10th win in an unbeaten 13-game run for Preston. And that match with the leaders on Saturday should be a humdinger. Deepdale will be absolutely rocking.
Sometimes it's not easy to play against 10 men, but what we did was we were patient, got the break just after half-time with the goal, and obviously from there on we made it difficult. We're so grateful to our goalkeeper just before half-time for a fantastic save, and even at 2-0 he made another good save for us. So all in all, very satisfying day for us with 3 points and a clean sheet.
I thought we'd done great with 10 men up to half-time, probably had the best chance of the game, and then to concede the penalty was just a real blow for us.
Belief is growing at Chesterfield that a double promotion is on the cards. The Spyrites have now won 4 consecutive matches, a season best. Their timing couldn't be better. Speaking of timing, Tendai Darikwa's late surge was right on cue to head home his first goal of the season on 26 minutes. Crewe, who because of this result drop into the relegation zone, offered few bright moments, but Uche Ekpezu came close to snatching an equaliser. In truth, Chesterfield looked every inch the top six side as they dominated large spells of the game, playing the type of swashbuckling football they've become renowned for. And had Jay O'Shea's effort not rattled the post, the scoreline may have had a more emphatic look.
Port Vale's alarming run of form will have the relegation jitters sweeping across certain parts of Staffordshire. Vale had lost their last 5 league games. It seemed the rot would be halted though at Spotland, Peter Vincente coming closest for the hosts. The game was a largely forgettable affair, but 5 minutes into second half injury time, Dale finally delivered. And to make matters worse for the visitors, it was their former striker Calvin Andrew who struck the decisive blow. Rochdale boss Keith Hill left purring following the stoppage time winner.
Football's a drug because of the emotion, the highs and the lows and the in-betweens that you get. And we were looking and stirring the rest of the season as an in-between 6 games. But we're right back in it again, like on the space of like Calvin Andrews scoring that goal, and wow, superb.
Colchester's perilous position in the bottom 2 owes much to their poor home form. Just 5 wins for Essex fans to cheer, so when George Waring pounced from close range, there wasn't much optimism that record would improve. But the green shoots of recovery have been in evidence in recent weeks as Tony Humes' side have slowly grown in belief. And when Jacob Murphy set up Gavin Massey, the fight back was on. While the U's have been labouring at the wrong end of the table, Barnsley had harboured loftier ambitions. But their promotion challenges faltered as their form has dipped, and no wins in their last 4 was in danger of becoming 5 as Massey returned the favour by setting up Murphy. The visitors' defensive frailty was ruthlessly exposed by the pace of Massey, who really caught the eye in everything he did, as did George Moncur, who wrapped up a priceless win with his 3rd goal in 3 matches. It leaves Colchester 2 points off safety and full of hope and heart.
Well, Tony Humes, young Colchester side, now unbeaten in 4 and clearly growing in belief at the minute.
Yeah, at the right time, because I think that you need to put a run together. If you win one game and lose the next one, you drop back in it. They put a little run together, and they can see some light at the end of the tunnel.
Back-to-back wins for the first time this season. You kind of almost dreaded or feared the worst for them when they lost Freddie Sears to Ipswich.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a big loss. There's no doubt about it, because he's gone on and done well at a higher level. Yeah. There's 9 in it now, though. Mm. You look at it, right up to Walsall, there's 4 points between those 9 sides. So, when you talk about you might well be in the bottom 4, but all of a sudden you're in touching distance of 5 other clubs outside of that. So everybody will be down there thinking we've got a real chance of getting out of this if we can do what Colchester have just done, won a couple of games of football.
Well, you talk about stringing unbeaten runs together, and I think the longest unbeaten run in English football at the minute belongs to Preston North End. Yeah. Unbeaten in 13 now under Simon Grayson, your old teammate at Leicester, of course, Stephen. I think they're 9 points clear now, or 8 points clear in second. Yeah. After, the disappointment of the playoffs last season, you won't have to worry about that, the way things are going.
Not the way things are going, no. I mean, they've played very well, just at the right time. I spoke about the timing of it, and they've been fantastic. And they're another side that have got goals in them. They've got goals all over the pitch. We've seen them time and time again where, people have stepped up to the mark, and I think that's just the real belief that they can go and win games of football and also stay on that sort of run at this time has given them, like you said, that breathing space to think, actually, now we could actually put this to bed and not worry about the playoffs.
Staying with League One and 4 points off the playoffs after their defeat at Scunthorpe on Friday, could Peterborough close a gap on the top 6 at home to Walsall?
After just 1 win in 10 games, Walsall are slipping dangerously close to the drop zone. And aside from an effort from Michael Caine, which flew past the Peterborough post, they failed to create a great deal. Posh have also been in poor form, having lost 3 in 4. And Marcus Maddison's cross shot, palmed away by Richard O'Donnell, was the nearest they came to a goal. Their playoff chances are starting to fade away.
Yeovil were already drinking in League One's last chance saloon. Now the bell for last orders has been sounded. Believe it or not, Fleetwood's Achilles heel this season has been goal scoring, but David Ball wasted little time in trying to put that right with his first on 7 minutes. The clock had just passed the quarter hour when Ball landed his second of the match, leaving Yeovil needing miracles to avoid a sixth straight defeat. Fleetwood, however, were in merciless mood and added their third goal to put the game beyond doubt with little over half an hour played. Yeovil's shoddy defence cut open by Ball and Jamie Proctor duly beat Artur Krysiak. The added gloss came from the boot of Ash Hunter, who scored his first senior goal to keep the Cod Army in the playoff hunt. For Yeovil, a second consecutive relegation looms.
Now we've got to start looking for the future, and it looks inevitable that it's going to be League Two. Now the job and the process needs to start of rebuilding Yeovil Town.
It was important that we followed up Friday's victory against Gillingham with another good performance, which we did, and to get 6 points from the 2 games is a great bonus for us all coming right into this final part of the season, because hopefully it sets us up nicely for the last 5 games, and we've got another tough one on Saturday against Walsall.
If Crawley are able to escape relegation from League One this season, Isael McLeod may never have to buy a drink in the town again. His goals are becoming critical to Crawley's survival hopes. This his 20th of the campaign. McLeod's exploits were evidently rubbing off on the more unlikely goal scorers too. Centre-half Richard Wood scoring his 3rd for the club since joining on loan from Rotherham. Oldham's slim hopes of reaching the playoffs have now dissipated. Mike Jones's free kick the closest they came as Dean Saunders' side moved out of the relegation zone.
Great performance, and more importantly, it's a great 3 points, and looking at it, I think the results have gone our way as well.
Crawley's win meant the pressure was on the teams around them to generate the same kind of momentum. Orient have been doing just that with 2 wins in their last 3, and when Ryan Hedges was tripped by Max Amer, it meant a chance for Lloyd James to convert from the penalty spot, which he duly did. By contrast, confidence has been fairly thin on the ground for Gillingham, who've only won twice in their last 9 matches, but Justin Edinburgh's side roused themselves and hit back through Jermaine McGlashan 4 minutes later. The equaliser seemed to work its magic because suddenly it was all one-way traffic from the visitors, and in top scorer Cody MacDonald, they possess a class finisher. That goal number 17 of the season. An Orient drama turned into a full-blown crisis early in the second half when Shane Lowry deposited Luke Norris on the floor with a challenge that had a hint of WrestleMania about it. MacDonald stepped up to register his 2nd of the match with a penalty that almost burst the net, and the home side were in trouble. With backs well and truly against walls, they responded with 2 goals, both from former Gillingham players. Darius Henderson scored the first of them, despite the best efforts of Glenn Morris to give the Matchroom Stadium much-needed hope. Henderson was again involved in another incisive passing move which almost brought the equaliser. The ball found its way to Orient skipper Joby McAnuff, but he could only find the foot of the post. But for the second game in succession, Josh Wright came to the party for the East London side. His winner at Coventry last week provided 3 valuable points, and who knows how important that equaliser will be in the final reckoning. For now, it keeps them out of the relegation zone.
Notts County dropped into the relegation zone for the first time last Wednesday, and despite Alan Smith's glancing header going mighty close early in the second half, they would have been grateful of a point against fellow strugglers Coventry. Home keeper Roy Carroll having to backpedal very sharpish to tip over a curling cross shot from young defender Jordan Willis. And late on, the Magpies, who look set to appoint Dutchman Ricardo Moniz as their new manager this week, were indebted to Carroll again, who saved brilliantly to deny a thumping header from Adam Barton.
So a chance of a much-needed win goes begging for both Notts County and for Coventry. Interesting news, though, to come from Meadow Lane. They're expected to announce Ricardo Moniz as their new manager on Tuesday. He was the man, of course, the Dutchman, who was linked with the job last month. He turned it down for family reasons, but it now looks like he will be in situ at Meadow Lane in time for their game against bottom club Yeovil Town on Saturday. So your reaction to that, Alan?
Well, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I find it a decision that is hard to work out, because Paul Hart's there, vastly experienced manager's caretaker manager. He knows the players, he knows the league. you know, why not keep him in charge? Because it's 5 games, 6 games left. The running's vital. Perhaps Paul Hart should have been kept in charge for me.
And no doubt hoping for a similar kind of response to, you know, when Sean Derry came in only 12 months ago in the Great Escape for County. But for Leyton Orient, what a comeback that was against Gillingham, Steve, from 3-1 down to draw 3-3. And the show of spirit is, I suppose, something that the manager was desperately looking out for at this stage.
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's an important part of what they've got to show to, you know, if they are going to start. We know they've got quality. We know they've got really good players. I mean, look at this for a ball. Lovely little reverse ball. Real quality at that level. We know that they have the players. Do they have the will, the character and the spirit to marry those two together and survive the predicament they're in? You know, if they can do that, they should be OK.
But they shouldn't be down there, really, should they, Alan?
Not with the budget they've got and the big-name players for that league that they've brought in. But, you know, it's not all about money, is it? And there's lots of ingredients to go into making the club successful. Steve's touched on a few, and you've got to get that right. And it's not all just about the big money signings.
Warning signs, weren't they? Russell Slade and that.
Yeah, of course.
Bit of a debacle at the start of the season. So, really quite sure if they've ever, you know, come out of that in the correct way.
Crawley's fight for survival continues. Good win against struggling Oldham, 2-0 winners. And a milestone for Ison McLeod. Goal number 20 for him.
Yeah, fantastic return. I watched him extensively when he was at Portsmouth, you know, at this level. It didn't really happen. He scored a couple of goals, but his performance levels and didn't really convince. You know, it's a bigger club with a lot more pressure. Here, looks like he's really flourishing in that environment. And if they are to stay up, then he's going to have played a huge part in that.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the situation at the bottom of League One. If we thought the Championship was tight at the top, look at that. The bottom 9 clubs separated by just 4 points. I mean, what a finish in store there.
It's amazing, and you know, as the games are coming thick and fast, they seem to be playing each other. And you know, I think it may well go down to goal difference.
Any 3 of 9, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about 4 points between those sides. Everybody will think they're in with a chance. There'll be lots of games that involve all of those teams.
Yeah.
So, you know, you will get relegated if you're not good enough. If you are good enough, then you'll be able to get enough points to see yourself OK.
Coventry there in 18th. Interesting what Alan says. They're all playing each other. Coventry still to come in the final 5. Games against Colchester, Crewe and Crawley, and end up with a trip to Bristol City.
Well, sometimes, you know, sometimes they're the games that you want because they're 6-pointers, they're massive games, and, you know, no one has to get motivated for them sort of matches.
I think as well, big crowd as well, Coventry, big backing, that could play a big part in it.
The top of League One, well, the top 2 have been in situ for a while now. It's about the playoffs in some respects, or not?
Well, there's still a glimmer, isn't there, for MK Dons? They've got that game in hand. They've won their last 3. They're probably going to have to win. You know, they're probably 7 games, and Swindon 2 games in hand could go 4 points behind. But you know, in the current form, it's difficult to see Preston dropping enough points really to be caught.
Well, there was no question about the game of the day in League Two, as leaders Burton welcomed the Wycombe Wanderers. The Chairboys, their advantage over the chasing pack reduced to just 4 points after a surprise home defeat at the hands of Oxford on Friday.
26 minutes gone as first met third, and a huge moment of controversy. Burton keeper John McLaughlin handling outside the box, but somehow allowed to stay on the field. Understandably, Wycombe outraged by Darren Deadman's decision to show just a yellow card. And the leaders went on to take full advantage. 10 minutes into the second half, Adam McGurk curled in a beauty to move Burton 1 step closer to League One football next season. Wycombe were also in opposition for Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's first game in charge of the Brewers back in November. The Dutchman celebrated a 3-1 success that day. The width of the post prevented countryman Nasser El Khayati from doubling the lead before Matty Palmer ballooned over. And the Chairboys' sense of injustice was compounded 2 minutes from the end as McLaughlin pulled off a remarkable save to deny Aaron Pierre.
I thought they had a sucker punch with the decision of Darren Deadman not to send the keeper off, who's made a fantastic save at the end. Should he be on the pitch? I don't know.
We knew that it was going to be also a difficult game. But a moment of magic from one of our players was needed, and we had that.
Shrewsbury appear to be timing their burst for the finish tape perfectly after 4 successive wins. And they took the lead when the deflection on Mark Ellis's cross fell nicely for Tyrone Barnett. Referee Tim Robinson had to be replaced by 4th official Stephen Way due to injury. And Mansfield weren't happy at his refusal to award a penalty when Veidane Oliver tumbled under Jermaine Granderson's challenge. The Shrews were forced to hang on for a victory, which keeps them firmly on course. Rakesh Bingham with the best of the late chances.
We're just not getting that break at the minute, and it's important now that we up the work rate again. We go again Saturday with another tough one at Plymouth, and if we carry on performances like that, we'll be okay.
Any form students weighing up the League Two fixtures would surely have made Bury one of the weekend's bankers. And sure enough, Tom Eaves stuck them in front against a Morecambe side who hadn't won in their previous 5 league games. And Bury should really have wrapped this up in the first half. Eaves turning creative for Danny Nardiello to bring a reflex save from Morecambe keeper Danny Ward. Bury would have moved within a point of the top 3 if they'd seen it through. But 11 minutes from time, substitute Porrick Hammond raced onto a neat pass from Andy Fleming to put away the equaliser. And following a slack kick out from Nick Pope, Jamie Devitt laid the ball square for Paul Mullin to complete an unlikely comeback for Morecambe.
Southend United's Will Atkinson hadn't scored this season before Good Friday's win over Mansfield. Keen to add to his tally, he soon put Scott Flinders to work in this League Two clash that had ramifications at both the top and bottom of the table. Atkinson wasn't to be denied a second time, and his cool finish put Southend on course for back-to-back league wins over Easter. Momentum is a priceless commodity in football, so too sometimes is luck, and Southend rode theirs as in-form Hartlepool pushed for an equaliser. Dan Jones saw his rocket cannoned onto the crossbar by Michael Timlin. But the drama wasn't to end there as Lewis Hawkins' stoppage-time overhead kick flew agonisingly wide. Southend keep alive their automatic promotion hopes.
We've thrown the kitchen sink at him, and on another day we probably win 2 or 3. So I've got nothing but praise for the man as.
There's always one side who make a bounding late attempt for the playoffs, and it seems Exeter fit the bill. Newport went closest in first half stoppage time though, Jan Krakowski's efforts scraping the post. With the game deadlocked, Exeter boss Paul Tisdale introduced substitutes Clinton Morrison and David Wheeler, and the desired impact was achieved. With 13 minutes left, Morrison fed Wheeler, the latter converting his second goal in less than 72 hours after scoring the winner from the bench in Friday's success at Luton. And if that hadn't given the manager something to ponder, Wheeler then skipped through on the stroke of full-time, only to be halted by Ishmael Yakubu's clumsy tumble. Yakubu dismissed for his indiscretion. Ryan Harley blasted home the penalty. The Grecians now unbeaten in 8.
After a goalless first half, a moment of class from Jed Wallace lit up the Dockyard derby. His 16th of the campaign, proving why clubs from higher divisions are queuing up to sign him next season. A damaging blow for Plymouth, who were clinging on to that final playoff spot, which slipped through their fingers the moment Ryan Taylor connected with Dan Butler's cross. That meant Argyle had just under 15 minutes to turn things round. Ollie Lee led the fight back with a fabulous volley. But a full recovery failed to materialise as Portsmouth gained revenge for a 3-0 loss in the reverse fixture. And to make matters worse for Plymouth, captain Curtis Nelson picked up a second yellow card for a late challenge on Wallace in the final minute of the 90. A defeat that left their playoff rivals rubbing their hands together.
New Cheltenham boss Gary Johnson lost his opening game in charge at York on Friday. But things could have been so different here, as Shaquille McDonald not had a goal ruled out on the half hour. The teenager latching on to Matthew Mansett's delightful through ball, but the assistant referee felt he'd gone a shade early. And Cheltenham played with real spirit early in the second half. Craig Braham Barrett only millimetres away from putting their noses in front. But it was Stevenage who looked the stronger side as the game moved into the latter stages. Bruno Andrade testing Trevor Carson as the home fans started to sense the match was going against them. And that was the way it turned out. Once the referee felt Ben Kennedy had been unfairly challenged by Jack Demon in the corner of the box. Penalty given, and it was Kennedy who calmly put away the spot kick that moved his side back into the top 7.
We had 20 shots, tactical man tells us, to their 7. Our goal was half a yard onside. I'd like people to see that because they're the thin lines. But unfortunately, if you have 20 shots, you need a bit of quality in your shooting.
The prospect of non-league football is looming large over Prenton Park. Janice and Mari Williams failed to take an early opportunity to raise local spirits. Luton arrived on the Wirral following 7 successive defeats, but many have found this stadium an hospitable venue this season, and Peter Brezovan's rash lunge at Mark Cullen gave them the chance to stop the rot. Brezovan initially kept out Cullen's penalty, but Cameron McGeehan was alert to celebrate his 20th birthday with the only goal. There was still time for Mark Laird to bring the best out of Elliot Justin, but with 5 matches to play, Rovers remain in real peril.
I think the performance heartened me. I thought we showed a lot of effort and commitment there today without any luck in front of goal, and you know, if we're going to get out of the situation, we need that to change.
Playoff chasing Northampton failed their Cambridge exams. The Cobblers have a reputation for being fast starters at home, but the Youths beat them at their own game. Harrison Dunk slammed in the decisive goal 62 seconds into this clash. Cambridge showed all of the urgency of a side seeking to confirm their League Two status with plenty of time to spare, and Ryan Donaldson came close to adding to their tally as a Northampton goal led a charmed life. Sub Sully Kaikai couldn't convert Cambridge United's final chance, but Richard Money's side are now 8 points clear of the relegation zone, and unless things dramatically change, they'll be playing Northampton next season.
It took the Daggers just 81 seconds to pierce the Dons. Several incisive passes saw the ball eventually drop to Jamie Curitan. The questions may be asked of Barry Fuller's rather inexplicable attempt at goal-line defending. Undeterred by their early setback, the visitors showed plenty of attacking intent. It was the finishing, though, that was lacking, as demonstrated by Craig Tanner. The miss proved to be a costly one, as Scott Doe's first of the season stretched the hosts' advantage. The Dons weren't finished yet. This rasping effort from Jay Greaves testing the palms of Daggers keeper Mark Cousins. But the day belonged to the evergreen Curitan, who bagged his first Football League hat-trick in over 7 years. His second goal beautifully executed. The striker turns 40 later this year, but delivered a masterclass in finishing by adding a third 3 minutes later. Curitan, understandably, cock a hoop.
Not a great deal for Oxford's biggest crowd of the season to cheer, although York keeper Michael Ingham had to be on his toes to keep out a corner. And from another set piece in the second half, the Minstermen were relieved to see Joe Scars blast wide. The prospect of either side collecting a third straight win always looks slim, but this could be a priceless point for York in the final reckoning. A fourth match unbeaten moves them 6 points clear of danger. Dave Winfield close to being their match winner for the second game running.
Carlisle began the day hovering just above the safety line. Accrington hadn't won for 8 games themselves, but had a player capable of scoring a goal like this one, in Piero Mingoya. 2 goals in 3 minutes ensured Stanley can already start planning for next season. Josh Windass, son of Dean, guided in Geraldo Bruno's cross, before Seamus Keneally poked in his first goal since arriving from League of Ireland club Sligo Rovers. Kyle Dempsey did deny Accrington a rare clean sheet in the final moments, but the only real consolation for the Cumbrians was that the 3 teams below them all lost as well.
Good win then, that for Accrington, Stanley. Josh Windass, incidentally, one of 4 sons of ex-footballers to score on Easter Monday. Well done too to Jamie Curitan on his hat-trick for Dagenham. It all but secures their League Two status. But for Burton Albion, a huge win against Wycombe, Alan. But I tell you, they rode their luck a little bit, didn't they?
Well, I think even Jimmy Floyd-Aspect came out and said that this was the wrong decision. The goalkeeper's ventured out the box. It's been given as handball, so he's got to take a red card.
obviously adds to the frustration of Gareth Ainsworth, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I'm not sure we're over enamoured with the defending here, allowing the player to come inside like that and getting the shot off. But as you can say, sometimes in these big games, it's fine margins. If you don't go your way, invariably you don't get the points that you need.
And it gives them a 7-point margin, I suppose, in their race to, I think, over third place, that is, for Burton Albion. So that's how big that win is. For Tranmere, though, at the other end of the table, well, you know, they've come unstuck to a side in Luton Town who've lost their last 7 games. It's the last thing that Mickey Adams wanted.
Yeah, I mean, you would have thought they were primed up to win this game simply because of Luton's form, but it doesn't always work like that. And Luton have dredged a performance out of nowhere. What is it now? We were saying 15, 16 games, I think.
Without a clean sheet.
Without
16,
a clean sheet.
Yeah.
You're just not giving yourself a chance. And I've watched them twice this year, and on both occasions I've come back and gone, do you know what? Too good to go down.
Yeah.
Well, after 41 games, you're bottom 2. It's not the case, is it, unfortunately? It's a big club at this level as well, got to say.
What it does do is, despite that horrendous recent form, is it reignites Luton's playoff hopes, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think John Still will be relieved about that because he's been having a bit of a bad time. And, you know, 2 experienced managers and Mickey Adams there, you know, he's going to need all his experience to get Tranmere out of this.
No.
So this is the top of League Two then, Steve. So how do we assess it with only a handful of games remaining?
Well, I mean, they'll be kicking themselves, Burton and Shrewsbury. Obviously, Wickham have been in that position, that automatic for a while. And, you know, after a really disappointing result, that will be softened somewhat by Bury losing as well. So they've still got a 4-point advantage. And that, as I say, even though they've got a game in hand, Bury, they won't want to give up that third spot.
You can't rule out Bury and Southend. They've still got a game in hand, haven't they?
Absolutely.
That's right.
Let's look at the other end of the table then. And this is the harsh end of the Football League.
Absolutely, and you know, as Steve was saying, Tranmere, you know, you remember them playing cup finals and challenging to get in the Premier League, and you know, look where they are now. And you know, Ronnie Moore's done fantastic at Hartlepool just to get them above water. So it's going to be another tight finish
2 from 4, probably. Yeah, Mansfield.
You've always got to assess form at this stage, don't you? Or do you just take each game as it comes? It's that adage again for managers.
Lots of talk about momentum. And you know, can you build some sort of momentum in the run-in? But you know, I'm sure the manager's just looking at the next game. Let's see if we can get something from that, and see if we can push on afterwards.
They'll know. They'll know deep down. Most of those players in those dressing rooms whether or not they're going to stay up or go down.
OK, well, that's your lot then for another week. But we are back next Saturday, straight after Match of the Day, as usual, at 5 to midnight on BBC One. Well, Steve, good to see you as always. And Alan, great having you in, and all the best for the rest of the season with Fulham. So have a great week, and we'll see you next Saturday. So from all of us here, bye for now.
Drew Barrymore takes on a serial killer far from